Hey everyone, number 42 on my list of 100 greatest songs of all time is Heart of Glass by Blondie. Everybody knows it. Came out in 1979. I was reading about it recently, and it was written about 4 or 5 years before that by Debbie Harry and Chris, let me get his name right, Chris Stein. And they tried it as a ballad and they tried it as a reggae song, and if you know anything about Blondie, Heart of Glass is kind of a little bit different for them. They were kind of post-punk new wave band, and Heart of Glass is more disco than anything else. And they were kind of reluctant a little bit to do it the way they did it in the end, but they stuck with it. And I was reading it got to number one in the UK and the US Billboard Top 100. And it's, what is it I read there? That it's always in lists of great songs of all time. It was ranked number 66 in the UK's official list of biggest selling singles of all time. That was back in 2018. With sales of 1.32 million copies. And it's the 9th best selling single of the 1970s in the UK. So that's how big of a song it was. The little disco thing that it starts with, that kind of synthy, percussive piece, is I mentioned it before when I was doing my video on Work It by Missy Elliott. She samples that in her song Work It, and that's probably leaning into the disco thing more. But the drums are particularly disco. The how like propulsive the bass is in the song. It's not doing anything mental or anything, it's overly complicated, but it's doing enough. And there's not many chords in the song, and so I'll just play just a tiny bit here. Once I loved and he was a gas, soon turned out had a heart of glass. Seemed like the real thing, only divine. Fortune is trust, love's gone behind. And then it goes into lost in time. Na, 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 na. That's pretty much it. With regards to the chord progressions and stuff. But Debbie Harry was brilliant, is brilliant as a front person, very magnetic, very. If you watch the video for Heart of Glass, which is a classic video at this point, she's so she's obviously very beautiful looking, but her performance and the way she moves and sings and uses the camera, because she's acting, is great, and it does draw us in. And obviously the band in the background are doing their thing, and they're kind of more playful, and but it does lean into, the video leans into the disco side of it. And whoever was against it, when a band takes a change of direction like that, like if you're talking about really big examples of it, someone like Radiohead, you wonder, like, is everyone on board, or are they just going along with it, and who is on board, and who has driven it into this place. But you hear the way I was playing it there, kind of slow, and like you can hear how it could be a ballad, and the lyrics are quite ballady, as for a love song kind of situation. There's one thing that I love, what they do in the breakdown instrumental piece. They switch the time signature a couple of times. It is quite subtle, but if you're really focusing on the beat, I suppose, if you're dancing along to the song, it's quite odd, because it goes to 7/4 a couple of times and then switches back, and then it doesn't repeat that in the song. It doesn't repeat that in any of the chorus, the verses or the chorus, because it goes. So even just me pounding the things. 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. So it goes to 8 then. So if you listen to it, go back and listen to the instrumental breakdown. And the first 2 times they do 7/4, and then they go back to the 4/4, 4 on the floor kind of a beat. The drum machine and the live drums. And I find that quite interesting because when you're thinking about songs that you can dance to, and Heart of Glass is a song that people would and do dance to, it's quite weird to throw in that, like, and it's almost like, I don't know if that was a mistake. So it says, I was reading about this a little bit, so it says the Parallel Lines version, which is obviously the album it was on, which is their most famous album, contains some rhythmic features that were very unusual for the disco context, which typically follows a strict 4 beats per measure pattern for maximum danceability. The instrumental interludes in Heart of Glass, in contrast, consist of 7/4 phrases, with exception to the last phrase and subsequent reprises of each interlude, which resolves back to 8 beats per phrase. So that's what I was saying about, like, the 7, and then it goes back to 8/4, 7/4, 7/4, 8/4, 8/4, 7/4, 8/4. Sorry if that doesn't make any sense, but, like, if you listen to it and count it out as they're playing, the cymbal, I suppose, is the best thing to notice. It crashes in 1 beat quicker than the whole song has been doing up to that point. And I love that kind of little trickery because it's sneaky, but it's quite clever for a band to do it. And I do love rhythm, changes in rhythm and things like that. But I don't remember when I heard this first, and then it's one of those songs that, like, it's been present at all the time, and I've spoken about that on different songs that I've done up till now, where this has just been a part of my existence because it came out in, like I said, 1979. I was born in 1982. And this song has always been played. It's just one of those songs that you can play it on a lot of different occasions, maybe apart from a funeral, I suppose. Sooner or later he had Heart Glass, that would be pretty mean, but you could play it at, like, grads and weddings and birthday parties, young and old birthday parties, and you'll get people on the dance floor. But next time you see people on the dance floor, watch the way they move for that 7/4, those 7/4 bars, and see if it throws them off, or if they just swivel through that last beat into the next one. That's what they might do. I'm not a dancer, I wouldn't know. But yeah, Heart of Glass by Blondie, an absolute classic. Thanks, bye.